So I want to talk to you guys today about weaning foals, and especially the stress-free weaning of foals. You know, science is starting to tell us that a lot of behavioural issues later on come from weaning traumas, either weaning too early or too abruptly, things like that. So you can end up with some behavioural issues later on that are difficult to fix, and people want to try to solve those problems, and I'd rather not create those problems in the first place. So our weaning we're going to talk about today is about Bodhi over here, the little Palomino fella over there. And so I want to talk about how I went about weaning him, and I want to talk about the principles of training. So I've recently written a book called The Principles of Training, and I want to talk about the principles I use to have a stress-free weaning. The first thing I did was the setup. So the setup was Bodhi lived in here with his mother Bella, who's over there eating out of the feeder, and his uncle Petey. And then Rupert, the sorrel horse over here, lived in here with Chance. And so Bodhi in the past has lived with Rupert because Rupert was a part of this herd before. So one of the principles of training is they need to know the answer before you ask the question. And what I was planning on doing was taking Bodhi away from his mother in with a friend. But he had to already be a friend. It would be stressful if I took him away from his mother, put him in with someone else, and they had to, you know how horses kind of have to have a bit of a to and fro to figure out where they are. So I'd already had that bit sorted out. So that is, they need to know the answer before you ask the question. But then when I took Bodhi off his mother, I did the change one thing at a time principle. So if you think about when Bodhi was in with his mother, he can see his mother, he's near his mother, and he can touch his mother, okay? So I changed one of those three things. All I did was I put him in here. So this is, you know, the fence is this wire right here. So I put him next door so he could see his mother. He could be near his mother, like he is right now. She's over there eating and he's down there along the fence, right near her. But he couldn't touch her, he couldn't nurse off her. And when I first put him in there, he kind of ran back and forth a little bit and was a little bit agitated for a little while. And we waited until he settled down, and then I just put him back in with her. So I took Chance out of there and put Chance in here, and I put him in there. Once he'd settled down just a little bit, then I put him back in with his mother. So I didn't want to leave him out there forever. I just wanted him to find a good place. And it didn't take him very long to find a good place. You know, the first couple of minutes that he was in there, he was really quite frantic. Like chomping like that foley, chomp, chomp, chomp sort of a thing. Like a foal would if you abruptly weaned them and took their mother away. But he settled down pretty quick, and then we put him back in there. The second day we did it, I didn't do this the first day. You know, one of the principles is make the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy. And it's not about hard. It's not about making things hard. It's about making the right thing easy, about making things easy. And so the second day when I put him in there, because the first day he ran back and forth over here just a little bit, the second day I put him in there, I put some hay on the ground right there. And he wanted to be near his mother, but he also wanted to be kind of a bit up emotional and run back and forth. So I put the hay there to make it easy for him to stand still and be a little bit distracted from his mother, not so intent on his mother. We did that the second day, and then I think we did that the third day, and by the end of the third day, not the end of the third day, sorry, the third session, he seemed pretty content in there. So he's been living in there for a couple of days now. So now it's they're together. So we used the change one thing at a time principle. I used a little bit of the make the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy principle. And I used a little bit of the need to know the answer before you ask the question. And that was the fact that he already knew Rupert before he put him in there. There was no, him and Rupert didn't have to sort things out. Now, the next thing that's going to happen, think about when you take a foal away from their mother, or the mother away from the foal, sorry, and they disappear. You start to lead them out of there and they disappear. The foals can get kind of worried right there. So what we did starting today was they're in these littler pastures here. Behind that we can see all that grass. That's a much bigger pasture out there, but it borders both fences of these two. So what we did was today we took the mare and Petey and started to led them out there. So when we first led them out there, he started running back and forth like, my mum's leaving, she's never going to come back. And I took her around and I put them out there, which means she's in the same place she's in now. She's just over the fence. She's just in a different spot. So he got to experience what it's like for her to be taken out of there, and he thinks she's going away, and she's not really going away. I did that today, and then after that, I took those two out of there. So think about the next thing is, what if we tried to take him away from his mother? Him away from his mother instead of his mother away from him. So what I did next today was I put them away and I took these two and I led them out there and I put them out in the pasture. So not only, so when we let him, he might think, I'm going away from my mother, I'm not going to a bad place. We actually take him around and put him on some nice grass that happens to be next to his mother. So him coming out this gate away from his mother was not it wasn't a traumatic thing. He might have thought it was going to be, but then it was actually quite pleasant. And so we're just going to keep doing that for a little while, and then maybe what we'll do is take his mother and move her and Petey over here, maybe where these horses are, so they're further away. Something else that I am going to do too is, it just so happens that his mother's feeder is right by this fence over here, so she's always eating there. What I'm going to do with her feeder is move it further up there, and so she spends a lot more time further away from him. She's not hanging there because he's there. She's hanging there because of the food. He's hanging there because she's there. But there's been times when her and Petey have gone for a walk up there, and she's not in the slightest bit worried about him. She wasn't worried about him the day we took him out. She was like, thank goodness. The night I put him back in there, the first night, when I put him back in and turned loose, he ran straight over and had a drink. She was ambivalent. When I took him away, she wasn't worried about it. When I was bringing him back, she wasn't like, where's my baby? He came back and she was standing there and he ran up and had a drink, and she didn't tell him to get lost, and she wasn't excited to see him. So she was pretty ambivalent about the whole thing. But anyway, that's how we're going about this weaning process, to make sure that we don't create any trauma that's going to be some sort of behavioral issue later on. And those are some of the principles of training that I used to achieve that. So make things easy, make the right things easy, change one thing at a time, and they need to know the answer before you ask the question. So hopefully that helps you guys understand a little bit about my weaning process.